Hey folks, couple of wild ones versus the Devils. Leafs had to overcome an early deficit at home. On Monday night, the second game was a bit of a walk in the park. We're going to break it all down for you right here on the OZone.
You're in the offensive zone, your place for Leafs hockey.
Hey folks, welcome to the OZone. That's Coach, that's Katie, I'm the Devo, and we're here to talk all things Leafs. Well, that first game was a bit of a nail-biter, but second game not so much. KD, what'd you see?
Well, the first 10 minutes of the first game against New Jersey was the worst 10 minutes of the Keefe era. It was dreadful, terrible hockey. But what we saw was a very proactive and a stern coach. He called timeout, he benched players, he shifted guys around, and the result was that the team responded, and most importantly, the people he benched responded. Kerfoot, Marner being one. They finished the game and played great. The Leafs stepped up, came out of the funk, and got going. Like, this was purely, some days you don't have it. This was purely effort and dedication. And he addressed it early in the game. The team adapted to it, and they played much better by the end and carried it over to the next game. So, yeah, like I want to call it, are we ready for playoffs? Well, I want to call it like this is a team that's clearly it's dedicated. They're listening to their coach. Like, they're not tuning them out. They're not sulking on the bench. They adjusted and they won. So that's a great sign. I mean, you don't like to see 10 minutes like that, but you like the result. So we'll take it.
Yeah, it's a great point. Definitely a bit of a rebound there. Certainly halfway through the second period, they were a different team. Anyways, this is a little segment we like to call on the OZone, Where's Coach?
Okay, haven't done a Where's Coach in a while. So I'm actually sitting here in the belly of the beast again, Boston. But last night, I was in New Jersey. Got to see the Leafs again in person. Hey, it's been a while for me. It's been almost 3 weeks since I've seen the Leafs in person, so a little rusty. But here's a shot of that 7-1 final, that sweetness on the scoreboard. They said 11,000 or so in attendance. That was probably felt right. Bunch of blue and white, like tons of Leaf fans. Look at these guys matching Connor Browns. I don't think I've ever seen a Connor Brown. I certainly haven't seen one on an adult in a kid's size like this blue one here. But tons of Matthews jerseys.
I did know.
Yeah.
I didn't know he had family in New Jersey.
Speaking of family, I didn't get a picture, but I saw someone in a Travis Dermott 23 jersey. And I said, hello, Mrs. Dermott.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, you know what was great about that game? So I paid $38 for my ticket, including fees, so it's easy to get. But I also, what was great was meeting this guy. So here's a guy, Orangeville, Ontario, Gary Ferguson, goes by Ferg, and I meet up with this guy, and he happens to have an empty seat
the Irish
beside him.
hat.
Well, take a look at this seat. He was down second row right behind the net. So really enjoyable there in Jersey. And so you may ask, well, what's the connection? How would I just go and meet some guy and go down and sit in the second row? Well, the connection is this guy, our old friend, Craig Menard Minzy. So it happens to be Ferg is from Orangeville, Ontario, hockey player. He got drafted into the OHL in London way back when. Him and Minzy worked together. So I texted a picture of my seats to Minzy last night, as did Ferg. And Minzy gets us together and says, I think you guys are about 14 rows apart. And so we hooked up and went down and watched the game. The seats were fantastic. Look, here's the best part about this. You know, I was railing on Kevin Weeks in the last pod about stealing my bits. Well, there is no way that Weeks can steal this story. There's no way he would know Kevin Menard. There's no way, Craig Menard. There's no way he would go to a game in New Jersey. So I think hold on. He knows Minzy. Yeah, I know he knows. Yeah, I know he played in New Jersey. Wait, he lives in New Jersey? All right, there's no way he doesn't know Ferg, does he? Okay, good. He does know Ferg. Anyway, an enjoyable time watching Leafs as always, and Leaf Nation really showed up. So that's Where's Coach.
All right, Coach. Thanks. A very interesting 6 periods. Let's be honest. The Leafs played one of the worst periods, as KD pointed out, probably of the season. Pittsburgh notwithstanding. They carried it a bit into the second period, but an interesting thing happened. Kerfoot got benched. Marner had to miss some some shifts. Soup got pulled. The fourth line got shut down pretty much completely for the first and half the second period. And then Keefe unleashed the lines. And as KD pointed out, they really responded. It's also nice to get Liljegren back in those games. Let's face it, we didn't know how long he was going to be out after getting hurt in that Wings game. So good to have him back in the lineup. So I was pretty happy to see that. Coach, what didn't you like about the game?
Obviously the start in that first game wasn't great. Kev already talked about it, but we rebounded really well. So a couple of things not about the game, because I'm still riding the high of that 7-1 win. So maybe I should have snuck this into the Where's Coach, but on last Friday night, I went to scout our ECHL team, the Newfoundland Growlers. They were in the DFW area. They played the Allen Americans. Here's a shot of it here. Here's what I didn't like. They played that game with 12 skaters. Can you imagine? They got hit by COVID, so they fly in from Newfoundland. They got 12 guys. And for some reason, they went with 7 forwards and 5 D. So, and believe it or not, the 5th D and the 7th forward hardly played. Like they rolled 2 lines and 4. It was like watching beer league. And then they rolled the 13th guy out there midway through the third. He got 4 shifts. Unbelievable. So I couldn't tell you if Newfoundland's good or not. They got up 2-0, and then they just faded away. Lost that game. They actually lost all 3 games in that series. And then the last thing I'd say is I was looking for this guy last night, native of Brooklyn. Big fan of the pod, by the way, Gilbert Gottfried. And I didn't like that I didn't see him there. You figure he'd come seek out the coach, right? But hey, this picture here is from the roast of Roseanne Barr. It could be the funniest and probably filthiest 5 minutes of comedy you may ever see. So if you go search that, no kids, just the adults. And if you see, and he starts by doing this, Jane Lynch. Well, that is the correct clip. You're in for some good comedy.
Rosilla.
All right, thanks, Coach. KD, how about you? What didn't you like?
Well, I'm going to bring it up. I brought it up a few weeks ago at the beginning of January, and I was ridiculed a little bit because he was scoring some goals and stuff. But I got to point out right now that 88 Nylander is not right. He is not engaged in the games. He's not playing well. And, there's a few things he does. I think we need more than 15 minutes, but leaving the zone early, certain things. But he is not engaged in the game, and now his production is rolling over too because of it. I'm going to point out in the last 5 games, the Leafs have won the last 5 games by a score of 27-13. In that period, he has 1 hit, he has 3 points, a goal and 2 assists. He has 12 shots on net. He's a -3, and he's a +3 in shot attempt differential. Okay, if you're a top 6 player and you are considered an elite offensive player, that 5 game period is terrible. To compare it, Mitch Marner, his last game, just the last 7-1 game, Mitch Marner had 1 hit. He was 4 points, 2 goals, 7 shots on net, +4, +11 in shot attempts. And I mean, we're not going to compare Marner to Nylander, but Nylander is not right. He's not been right since this whole COVID games missed period, and he's not plugged into the game. I'm not sure I think maybe the coach was trying to add him to the third line to try and spark him, try and figure something out, but he's dragging down the second line, and he's got to get engaged with the game. So pointing that out now, it's got to get right. There's lots of time from now till the end of the season, but we need the first half Nylander back, not this last 10, 11
Hey, I
games.
can tell you, sitting behind Campbell for the period that we were in the defensive zone, watching Nylander was watching like going to the eye doctor, and it's the very bottom of the chart, the 2-8s, because they're way at the other blue line. He is not in his zone at all.
Yeah, and you know what? Often offensive players, guys who are really really good at scoring goals, and guys play that way, they start to drift. They start to cheat just because they start to when they start to struggle, and it compounds the problem. It makes it worse. Where you see some guys try too hard and get in bad position, what he's doing is he's trying to get that extra jump, get behind the D, and it's not happening.
Evo, you got some stats on that line, right, from last night?
Yeah, I mean, look, when you convert a touchdown on a team, it's very, very rare that you're going to have guys have minus numbers, and he was a minus. You know, it's hard to be a dash guy when you're converting touchdowns. So it's something to look out for. Look, when he was riding high and scoring a ton of goals, as you say, he was flying. As soon as it looked like the puck was going to get turned over in their end, he was already down the ice looking for that stretch pass. And the bounces aren't going in a way that's helping him out right now. He's probably got to flatten his game out a little bit. So we'll see. In general, what I didn't like, when looking back at the last two games, obviously I didn't like the flatness and lack of effort from the beginning of Monday night's game. Other than that, look, they responded. They got 2 wins. 2 wins they probably should have got no matter what, but they got them. One with a comeback and one with, all-out domination. So there's no point in belaboring it anymore. Let's get into some predictions, guys. Let's lay it all down on the line here. It's a bit weird to have predictions when our next game is seemingly weeks away. We're in the All-Star break, folks, so it'll be interesting. Hopefully that gives Muzzin some time to heal and he gets back and we have the complete lineup. That's what I guess we're going to be looking for, and the next game will be against those big, bad Hurricanes. So it'll be a home game against the Hurricanes. We'll see what happens. Coach, what do you think?
Well, I think if the last 2 years have taught us anything, it's that it'd be crazy to predict something a week from now. Because, I mean, the whole thing could be upside down, right? So I'm not going to predict anything crazy for the next Leaf game other than a 4-1 win and Matthews scores, because that's what I always do. But I'll give you a couple other predictions. I think Matthews is going to win the MVP of the All-Star game, not just because he's going to rise to the occasion and he lives for stuff like that, but also because you should see how the media is. ESPN, TNT, they all, like, this is the best American player, and he will be hyped. He will be hyped as part of this game, and if he's anywhere close, he's going to win that thing. And then here's another prediction. So these two guys I sat beside for part of the game, these two young guys, they're both from New York City. One guy, big Simmons fan from the Bronx, I think, and then the other guy is from Queens. And so they show up there, they're just random Leaf fans. And I told them about the little podcast, told them I'd get them on. So I'm predicting these guys will be subscribers and maybe open up the NYC, the Tri-City branch of the podcast nation.
Nice. Absolutely.
Katie, what's going to happen?
East going to win this one. I do like Matthews filling the net, and I think Campbell will be okay. I think he'll hang in there.
Well, it's a different kind of tournament. I'll call the Central Division winning because of Makar's performance. It's a 3-on-3 tournament, Katie. It's not East-West.
Oh, right.
But it's a weird All-Star game. I also predict Manu Riom is going to perform a goaltender in the skills competition. I bet you she stones the first shots she sees. And we'll have to wait with respect to the Leafs. I think it's a low-scoring game against Carolina. 3-1. Spezza keeps it going. There you have it, folks. Hit subscribe. Ring the little bell. Like, share the video. Don't miss out. We want you here. You want to be here. Don't miss out. All things Leafs. Right here